certified by Microsoft itself to deliver all these trainings to all of you. And having trained almost more than 80,000 people in the last 10 years, right? I think it gives me, uh, you know, a complete joy to be a part of this, initiative from the NIC Academy. So let me introduce you with the structure of this course, right? So this is all that we're going to cover, right? We will continue for almost 8 weekends. We are targeting 5 hours per weekend of study time, right? Almost 4 to 5 hours per weekend. And then we'll continue it for 8 weekends. So we get almost, 40 hours worth of duration, and even more than that, if needed, we'll extend. Obviously, the classes will start at 8 a.m. IST, and we'll have classes generally till 10:15. But then, if needed, obviously, we'll extend it for 15-20 minutes based on our requirements. Now, on top of this, right, on the top of the virtual instructor trainings that we're going to have, we'll also be giving you the scalable labs, the hands-on labs from Microsoft, right? Uh, One second. Just yeah. So these labs are curated by Microsoft themselves to help you understand data engineering, right? And you'll be getting around 22 labs. I'll have a separate section to discuss everything related to the labs itself. But these labs will be valid for 2 months, as told to you. Now, 2 months will basically start, I think, from the third weekend onwards, right? Because initially we'll be doing the fundamentals of Azure. Our initial discussion will be around the basics of Azure, making you understand what Azure is. Because what I assume is that we're all new to Azure itself, right? So data engineering is again something far away. First of all, there is a need to understand the Azure platform, what cloud computing is, how is it, offering all the services to you, what architecture is it built on, and all those things. Yeah. So hands-on lab support from Microsoft through scalable labs. All right. We'll be having two hands-on projects. All right. Two hands-on project. One will be including your Synapse, Databricks, and ADF. All right. And then there will be one dedicated project on streaming analytics to make you understand the streaming data analysis, the real-time analysis, right? For each session, for each topic that we'll cover, you'll receive a PDF learning content, right? Topic wise, you'll get it. You will not get it day wise, you'll get it topic wise. And towards the end of the session, we'll also share a lot of interview questions with you. And the interview questions also will be, assorted topic wise, right? So you can find questions on Synapse, some 40, 50 questions on Synapse, then similar amount of questions on data factory, similar amount of questions on Databricks, right? And obviously we'll be sharing some sample resumes with you which you can incorporate in order to build your own resume. So this is the entire structure of the course that it's going to be, right? So 8 weekends series, 40 plus hours of lecture in total, right? Starting at 8 a.m., ending at around 10, 10:15, 10:30, right? And the best part is that you get to practice everything in the hands-on lab environment. All right. Now, somebody asked, I think, what will happen if you want to extend these, right? So there are possibilities to extend these lab sessions, but then we will have to check them, right? The duration and everything. On top of that, we'll also support you to create something called as an Azure free account. All right. So yes, you'll be putting in your credit card details here, but you'll not be charged anything because the Azure free account is valid for 30 days and it gives you $200 worth of credit. So you'll have ample amount of credits in your hand to work with Azure and work with the Azure services. All right. Now, what all are we going to cover in this course? Right. So we'll start, as I said, with the fundamentals of Azure itself. All right. So I'm not sure how many of you heard about the exam AZ 900. Does anybody know about the exam AZ 900? Anyone attempted?
Is it? No, no. Is it introduced recently, AC 900?
No, no, it's an old exam. It's the Azure Fundamental exam. All right. So AZ 900 is the Azure Fundamental certification that you can target once we are done with the first section. So first section basically deals with introducing you to cloud computing. All right. We are
Mhm.
going to introduce you to cloud computing, what cloud computing is, uh, followed with how Azure is built, right? Since Azure is going to be the platform, the cloud service provider, our hyperscaler that we're going to work with. Therefore, the foundational understanding of Azure, right? What is a data center? What is a region? What is a resource? What is a resource group? All of those discussions we'll have, right? If I directly start with, you know, section 3, which is ideally going to be, the start of data engineering in Azure, right? Because when you talk about data engineering in Azure, you talk about services like Synapse, you talk about services like Data Factory, Stream Analytics, Databricks, and those are the core services that we're going to cover. But before that, if I just start explaining Synapse, right, and you do not understand the foundations of Azure, right, and I'm taking, names like resource group, you select the resource group, you select elastic pool, so it's not going to make any sense to you. That is why we are going to dedicate a good amount of time to two parts. That is the foundational understanding of Azure fundamentals and then the data fundamentals, right? Now, there are two certifications offered by Microsoft on Section 1 and Section 2. Section 1 is AZ 900. The exam name is Microsoft Azure Certified Azure Fundamentals. And the Section 2 is Data Fundamentals, DP 900. Right? So these are foundational level certifications which are valid for lifetime, issued by Microsoft, and they basically, signify that you have an foundational level understanding of the Azure concepts or the data concepts on Azure. All right. Once we are done with the
One
foundations,
question. What
yeah,
would be the cost for this AZ 900 and DP 900?
yeah. So these are offered by Microsoft itself. The cost for each exam is almost $100, right?
For
Offered
each?
by Microsoft. Yes, yes, offered by
Okay.
Microsoft. So this is something that you'll be registering on Microsoft website itself. Uh, but I can check and I can get you some discount coupons, right? Almost 50, 40,
Mm-hmm.
50% discount coupons I can get you, so you can utilize them. All right.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll also check if I have some vouchers available. So the exam vouchers that we give away is for around $35, right? So actual exam cost is $100, but the vouchers that we have, you can use it and write the exam for $35. Now, moving on to the third section, this is
You
where
mean to
our act, yeah,
say, once completion of once completion
uh,
of this course, we can able to attempt that certification after
yes,
preparing some
absolutely.
Azure tips,
Yes,
right?
definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Section 1 and
That is what,
Section 2.
yes, section one and section two, AZ 900, DP 900, you'll be able to write it with ease. All right. Just some extra topics, some self-study topics will be there, but 70 to 80% of the syllabus of these two certifications will be covering in the class itself. All right.
Okay.
They're not huge courses. They're foundational level courses only, and they're very, very simple. But then you need to have an understanding on the basics, right? These courses, they talk very basics of the cloud computing on Azure. So you need to have the understanding there. All right. Then we'll move to
You are
the,
going to cover, sorry to interrupt, you are going
yeah,
to cover what is a cloud means, we are new to cloud enrollment actually. That is the reason we are.
you're new, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is
New
why.
to
That
cloud.
is why I told you we'll start from A. Our very first question also will be what is cloud computing? All right. When you talk about Azure fundamentals, the first question or the first topic that we'll discuss is what is cloud computing. Then moving towards what are the different cloud models. So you would have heard of private cloud, private hybrid cloud, public cloud. What are these three different cloud models? Then moving to the cloud services. What is infrastructure as a service? What is platform as a service? What are cloud, services offering you? So all of that discussion we'll have. And trust me, by the end of section one and section two, you will be masters at, cloud computing, especially in Azure. You will definitely have a good hands-on experience. Hands-on, you can do with the free account that you'll create, but you will have complete end-to-end depth understanding of the Azure platform. Obviously, if you pay attention in the class, that is the only requirement. All right. And then once I can see that you've understood the concepts of cloud computing, you understood what Azure platform is, how data is managed within Azure, how services are managed within Azure, then we'll move towards our Synapse, right? Which is where the actual data engineering journey will start, right? Before that, we'll cover some topics such as data lake and all that you would have heard of, right? That data engineers generally use. And we'll have an in-depth discussion on what data lake is, how Azure stores data, where Azure stores data, what are the replication strategies, all of that we'll cover, right? So you will have a complete understanding of what data lakes are. You will have a complete understanding of what the infrastructure is all about, right? Then, as I said, we start with Synapse Analytics. This is where we will get, started with the concepts of data engineering. We'll see what are SQL pools within Synapse, right? SQL pools such as the dedicated SQL pool and the serverless SQL pool, right? Dedicated server SQL pool also being used as a data warehouse, or another name for it is the data warehouse, right? So that we'll see. Then we'll see SQL pipelines. We'll see how you create pipelines in SQL. We'll try to, connect to different data stores such as a database or a data lake to get data, right? And put it into my SQL pool and then analyze it. So all of that I'll show you within Synapse. All right. We'll work with the serverless SQL pool also for our ad hoc queries for exploratory data analysis. And then we'll work with the dedicated SQL pool also for our data warehousing needs, right? Then we'll cover the pipelines as well. And then there is another section over here called Spark Pool, right? So this talks about the Apache Spark Pool where you can run your Spark workloads. All right. So this is something that we'll not cover in the beginning because I want to cover first of all Python and PySpark with you and then the Spark architecture towards the end itself, right? Towards the end of the course, when we are done with the Spark, we understand what the Spark infrastructure is, what the Spark architecture is, what is PySpark, how do you write basic programs within PySpark, right? How do you do basic uh, data transformations using PySpark? Then we'll move towards this Spark pool and create our notebooks over here to transform and manage our data. Once we are done with Synapse, we'll move towards Data Factory. Data Factory is, a resource that only focuses on creation of pipelines within Azure, right? So here we'll talk about what Data Factory is, what are pipelines, what are artifacts within the pipelines, right? What is a data set? What is a link service? We'll try to break down the pipeline into the modular units that it already has, and then we'll understand each one of them one by one, right? And here and throughout the duration of the course, right, we are going to have demonstrations on various topics, right? Let's say if you are working with the SQL pool here, and I want to show you the concept of external table, right? Creation of external table in a serverless SQL pool. So you create these external tables where the data is in the data lake, right? But you're able to view the data within Synapse. So when you're working with external table, then we'll work with each type of the file that it can be used with. We'll see the creation of external table with CSV files also. We'll see it with Parquet files also. And we'll see it with JSON file also. So all the different formats which are available, we'll have the demonstration on each one of them. All right. We are not just going to show you how it is done for CSV and then leave. No. throughout the duration of this course. Even if we are creating pipeline to move my data from one place to other, we'll move CSV data also, we'll move Parquet data also, and we'll try to work with the JSON data also. All right, so you have a complete understanding and experience on working with different types of data here. All right. Then within Data Factory, we'll also talk about the self-hosted integration runtime. Where does the compute come from? What is the compute? Because whenever you are transferring data or transforming data, right? Data movement and data transformation is a compute intensive process. It requires CPU, it requires RAM. Compute means CPU and RAM. So where does this compute come from? Right? Can you give your own compute for this processing through self-hosted integration runtime? So all of that we'll try to understand. Then obviously there is also a concept of something called as an incremental data loading, right? So we'll see how you can do incremental data loading using data factory pipelines through different types of triggers that you have. All right. Then once we are done with data factory, and data factory as a resource is a no code, low code solution of creating Azure pipelines. You don't have to write any code here. All right. And within Synapse and within Data Factory, we'll cover one more thing, that is Git integration. All right. So we'll see how you, you know, connect with a GitHub account, and some basics of Git and GitHub also we'll see, right? Because the code that we'll be writing in Data Factory will not be writing any code, but the UI components that will, drag and drop in the backend, the code will be created. So for that code, I need to have it backed up somewhere, right? So we'll create a repository, and through Git integration, we'll see two places. One is Azure DevOps, and the second one is GitHub. All right, so we'll connect, we'll create our repository in Azure DevOps also, we'll create a repository in GitHub also, and then we'll try to understand various concepts associated with them, right? So what is the main branch? What is, creating a branch? What is merging? What is pull request? What is cloning? All those basic concepts of Git we'll try to understand here, and then back up our code to the repository that we've created. All right?
Migration also from dev to QA, QA to prod.
We're not working with the release pipelines or anything as of now. We're just working with the backup of data. That is it. All right. Now, then we'll move towards.
So release will be explained in future. Release topic.
Creating release pipelines, I can explain it to you within Databricks. All right. We have a topic there. But over here, the purpose is only to create a repository and have our code there. That is all.
Okay.
All right. But if you want to understand the
Means
CI,
as a
CD,
developer, we need to check in the just Azure data factories inside the Git. That is only the activity.
that is all. See, you're not going to
as a
use that
developer.
code anywhere. Yes. You're not going to create any artifact from that code, right? That code is just going to work as a backup there.
So we are going to use the same code for our deployment purpose also, right? Migrating the code from dev to QA and from there to production.
Yes. Eventually,
same
there is
thing.
no code. Yes, eventually, see, there is no code actually. When you work with Data Factory, it's all a GUI based implementation. You have drag and drop
So
tools.
in that case,
Yes.
Somebody has to do the same activity in
Yes, absolutely.
other
It's
other environments also.
Another subscription.
Higher
So let's say
environments.
you have some other subscription where you want to recreate the resource, right? So you can connect to the Git and you can get all the resources within another subscription. All right.
Same
So it's
manual
like,
step again,
yes,
creating the resource, whatever we are doing in the dev, and same thing will happen.
yes, absolutely. So how you
In
have your
real
remote
time, in real time, my question is in real time. So is there any documentations that they prepare in the same document they follow during the UAT deployment? How it
doc
happens? I mean, for suppose it is an exe, right? For .NET
mm,
exe,
but
we
we do
deploy
not
into
have
Git
any
the
exe here.
same.
You do not have any exe here.
Right. I understand that part.
Hmm.
So we just move right the code from
Yes,
one
yes, yes.
environment to another
From your local
environment by
environment to the remote repository that you'll have. You'll
E-
have the remote
oh,
repository on DevOps or GitHub, right? And
mhm.
you'll have your local repository within your Azure environment. So it's all about, keeping them in sync. That is all, so that it could be
Oh,
reused. Hmm.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
How to use
So once
Terraform?
Terraform, we do not cover. Infrastructure as a code is not a part of the syllabus.
Oh,
Hmm. Yeah.
I do have a same doubt what he was asking. So how do we work with Azure Data Factory and Azure Synapse Analytics on real-time basis in terms of release from one environment to another environment?
Hello, can you hear me?
hello,
Yeah.
Shreyas.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry. I think they was speaking. I was on mute. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, what we are trying to do within Data Factory and Synapse is just the source control. All right. Just the source control, right? So we'll integrate with the Git repository, right? Using either of Azure repository or GitHub, right? So there are two modes that it offers. One is the live mode and one is the Git mode, right? Data Factory, it offers you two modes, live mode and Git mode, right? Where in the Git mode, we'll be working with our repositories itself. In the live mode, we'll be detached from the Git environment, right? So we just need to publish our code, and make it available on the remote repository. That is all we are going to do over there. But when we use Azure DevOps, right? That is where we'll work with the build pipelines and the release pipelines, right? But we are
Okay,
not working with DevOps. Azure DevOps is not the topic here,
okay.
right?
I got
I
it.
I just yes. So our purpose is only for source control, not creating
So
pipelines,
let's say there
right?
is a Azure data engineer. So
Hmm.
all he is all he has to know is how to check in the code in Git repository.
That is it. Yes.
Okay. And what about Azure Data Architect? Azure Data, because I'm not talking about the cloud architect,
Hmm.
solutions architect, cloud architect. He might, need to know the complete function of Azure DevOps and everything. But how about
Absolutely.
Azure Data Architect?
See, data architect also is not really, I would say, into, working with those pipelines, because here, as I said, there is no executable here that is getting created, right? There's no application that is getting created. You're not getting an artifact here, all right?
Yeah,
The
so
pipelines
how
will
do
always be.
they do,
Mhm.
or how do they take care of this dev environment, QA environment, production environment, moving the code? Let's say I see data factory is something similar to Informatica Power Center. I'm not sure if my understanding is correct, but the transformations, dragging, drop, using that transformations code or something, it looks similar to Informatica Power Center. So there we have a release procedure. So do we get to know the release procedure for what code we do in Azure Data Factory or Azure Synapse Analytics? Because why I'm asking is because we have some of this informations available in YouTube, but we
Mhm.
don't have some of this niche informations available to us so that we can talk about those things in interviews. And in interviews they
Understood.
can clearly, yeah, understand from all these questions. They talk about release, they will know, oh, I might have answered all the 10 development questions, but they will pick it up that I have not or I don't have the actual real-time project experience from these type of questions.
No, I understand. So, see, CI/CD we do cover within Databricks, right? If you want, we can have it in the data factory also.
Okay.
All right. We do
Yeah.
cover CI/CD completely in Databricks, but if your request is to work with it in Data Factory, then we can incorporate it as well. But that is not in the table of content that we have. All right. So what we'll do is we'll develop the ADF pipelines, the data sets, link service, and everything, right? and obviously it will be integrated with some Git platform, and then we'll try to publish these ADF branches in the live mode. We'll try to do that.
Okay. And also I see there would be like 16 sessions for this 8 sections of topic.
It's not
If you
fixed.
have,
It's not fixed.
it's not
Eight
fixed.
is Yes, 8 is what we target. If needed, there could be 9 also. If needed, there could be 10 also.
Okay. I just wanted to understand like yeah, each section, how long approximately we are gonna have hours allocated.
All right, so we'll have almost, see, when you talk about fundamentals, so to the two fundamentals, we'll have around 6 hours dedicated, 6 to 7 hours to the fundamentals itself. All right. Synapse, we'll
Mm-hmm.
be spending around 5 to 6 hours on Synapse, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll be spending some 5 to 6 hours on Synapse. Similarly, 4 to 5 hours on Data Factory also. Stream Analytics, we'll try to cover it in 3 hours. Python and PySpark, we'll do it, around 4 hours. And the Spark and Databricks again together, because Spark architecture is essential to understand Databricks. So therefore, I'll just combine both of them. So that will, do for almost 6 to 7 hours again.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be a uniform distribution on all the topics, right? Depending on the depth of the topic itself.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Now, once we are done with the batch data processing, we'll move towards, working with streaming data. So we'll work with the Azure Stream Analytics service, where we'll, use various streaming services like the Event Hub in Azure, right? We'll work with the data lake also here, right? So Stream Analytics will basically try to understand how the streaming data works, right? How do you process the streaming data in, real time? So all of that we'll understand, and then we'll move towards the final section of this course, which is all about PySpark, Spark architecture, and Databricks, and the Spark pool that I discussed in Synapse. All right. So this is where we'll first try to understand, because I'm assuming that all of you are new to Python also. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Therefore, we'll cover some basics of Python. We'll see what different data collections are within Python. What is a list? What is a tuple? All those things we'll try to understand. How do you write a function, right? How do you declare variables? How does that happen, right? How do you manage string, or how do you work with strings? All of that we'll do. And then we'll move towards PySpark, right? We'll see fundamentals of PySpark. How do you create data frames? How you work with data frames? We'll work with resilient data, distributed data sets, also RDDs. All of that we'll cover, right? We'll see what are PySpark APIs, right? Now, once we are done with that, the Spark APIs, we'll work with the Spark architecture itself. We'll try to understand the master slave relationship between the nodes that exist, right? So the compute nodes that exist, how do they process your distributed computing, right? How does that happen? How the data is, distributed, how, the processing happens, all of that we'll cover within section 7. And then we'll move towards the Spark pool, where we'll try to understand how I can create a Spark pool within Synapse and then work with it, right? And the final topic will be Azure Databricks, where we'll see the Databricks platform end to end. Here we'll work with creation of your Delta tables, Delta Live tables, right? DLT, which is the creation of pipelines within Databricks. We'll see various types of transformations that you can do. We'll see how you can mount your data lake onto the Databricks, right? The HDFS storage that it offers, and all of that we'll cover within Databricks itself, right? The CI/CD also included. So that is going to be the whole objective, right? So I've just given you an objective of what we're going to cover. So essentially, there are going to be 8 topics, but then there are a lot of topics which are not mentioned here, which will, continuously integrate within different sections, such as identity and access management through Enter ID, right? So Enter ID was earlier known as the Active Directory, right? So Azure Active Directory, something you would have heard of, is now called as Enter ID. So we'll try to understand Enter ID also, right? What is the purpose of Enter ID? What is the purpose of identity and access management? And then IAM has a very deep integration between, in the course that we are going to cover, right? Because various services they'll need to connect to data stores, right? And there are various options that they can take in order to connect to different data sources. Let's say, for example, a data factory resource, a pipeline we've created that wants to connect to a data lake also and wants to connect to a database also. So my Azure Data Factory pipeline needs to authenticate onto the data lake also and the database also, right? It should have valid permissions. So that we'll try to give through my Entra ID by creating managed identities within Entra ID. All right. So certain topics like Entra ID are there in this course, which are not explicitly mentioned, but we'll be covering them, right? So these are all peripheral topics. And trust me, by
How
the end of this,
about,
yeah,
sorry, yeah. How about this Azure Key Vault and parameterizing
yes,
the
yes,
pass?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Key Vault, we'll be using it to
So
pass
will
our
we
And
have
by
certificates.
will have admin permissions, right, for keyword creation? We'll have
See,
to
when
add
you
the
have
roles and
everything, we'll understand how you add roles, how do you do role-based access control, all of that we'll do. When we're working with, let's say, my storage accounts or any other service, right? We'll do RBAC there.
and by
yeah.
end of 8 sessions, will we be able to give 203 as well?
203 has been retired. Uh, if you're not aware,
By
Microsoft retired
March.
exam
Yeah.
203. Yes,
The data
it's not.
engineering. Oh,
Yes, yes.
we don't have that anymore.
No, no, we don't have that exam anymore because they had, gotten rid of it. So now they've introduced a new course around Fabric. All right. So as I said, there are peripheral
Oh,
topics. So Fabric is also one of them, right? It's just a marketing strategy that they're doing because, generally people, they don't use Fabric, right? Organizations, they don't use Fabric. So they want
yeah.
people to get certified on Fabric itself and then create a pool of resource around the Fabric so that it can be implemented in projects. But as of now, majority of the organizations, they are working with topics that you see on your screen itself. Not majority, all of them. All right.
Yeah.
So only the exam has been retired, but the concepts, the tools, they continue to work and they will continue to work. All right. Now let's talk briefly on the hands-on labs details also. So as I said, you'll receive credential on the scalable platform, which where you can log in and work with these hands-on labs. So you'll get around 22 guided labs are there, created and curated by Microsoft themselves. And these labs are from various topics on data engineering only. All right. Each lab will have 10 attempts and each attempt will be valid for 2 hours. So the moment you launch the lab, the environment will be valid for 2 hours and each lab can be launched for 10 times. All right. So in total, there is almost 450 plus hours of hands-on that you can do with the guided labs and the challenge labs which are there. There are certain challenge labs also, and these labs will be valid for 2 months, right? So this will not be given to you at the beginning of this course itself, right? These labs will be given to you once we are done with Synapse, because the labs themselves, they start from Synapse, right? So I don't want to give it to you today or tomorrow or in the beginning of the course, and then you waste a lot of time on it while we are reaching the topics, right? So once we are done with Synapse, the labs will be given to you so that you can go ahead and start practicing Synapse, right? That is what is going to happen. So let me show you what all different labs are there. So these labs, they are for the exam DP203 itself, right? Uh, and they cover all of these topics. So these are the labs that you'll have. One second. Yeah. So explore Synapse, analyze data with SQL within Synapse, transform data with SQL within Synapse, create a lake database, analyze files with Spark, transform data with Spark, use Delta Lake, explore data warehouse, load data into a data warehouse, Synapse, creating Synapse pipelines, right? Spark notebook, creating Spark notebook within Synapse. So all of these are there. Azure Databricks and Data Factory integration, Azure Databricks SQL, Delta Lake in Databricks, analyzing files in Data bricks, right? So various labs, as I said, total 22 labs are there on various different topics that you have here, right? So you can practice all of these labs there. Next, let's just look at some facts and figures, right? Around data engineering and actually around Azure itself, right? So there's an analysis, there's a study which was done on the open jobs, right? Present on various platforms, not just a single platform, but various platform. And this is what the result is, right? So in almost all of the job postings, right, that you have on these various platforms, right? SQL, in terms of data engineering, SQL is something which is present in 80% of the job postings. So SQL is again a prerequisite for this course, right? I hope everybody understands. You need to have a good understanding of SQL, right? If you do not know SQL, please learn it. It will not take more than 5 hours to become, an intermediate level professional on the SQL language. All right, SQL is there. Around 75% of the job postings have Azure mentioned. All right. And that also has to do with the fact that Azure as a cloud service provider is the fastest growing cloud service provider, right? I know AWS has a bigger market share as of now, right? So the last I checked, the AWS market share was around 32% and Azure's was around 28 to 29%. But Azure was growing faster than AWS, right? And then Google Cloud platform that you have, the GCP, that is almost around 9 to 10% of market share, right? So Azure is in demand. Azure is being, demanded everywhere. And this is what the analysis of the open job, the different platforms is all about. The programming languages that are required in all of these job postings, right? So then 80% people, they want SQL and 74% people require Python, right? So Python is an essential skill that you need to develop if you want to work with data, whether it is as a data engineer or a data scientist or a data analyst, anything related to data, any profile, any career that you want to choose, you need to be proficient with Python. All right. That is there. When it comes to the cloud skills that have been added, right? So 75% again, of job openings, they are requesting the Azure certifications or experience with Azure or knowledge of Azure. Clear? So this is why I think Azure data engineering becomes very essential for everybody, right? Because it is in demand, it is very highly in demand, and it's easy to learn. Let me tell you, the duration of this course, you're not going to feel at all that you're studying something that you do not understand. It's so easy. The cloud platform and the cloud computing in general, it's so easy. It has been made so, you know, the portal itself, it's going to give you a very, you know, easy feeling around the creation and working with the resources. And once you're, familiar with the portal, let me tell you, ideally you would have not seen a lot of people, right? Some senior developers, they're not working with the portal itself. They would open the command prompt, they'll start typing the commands, working with Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell. And that is completely fine, right? You will also reach there. But the only thing is that first you need to understand what the flow is of creation and managing of resources, right? Once you understand the flow, then it's not a big task, right? Once you understand that these are the steps that I need to perform to create a resource, you can any day open a command prompt and then, start writing the Azure CLI commands by referencing the documentations as well. All right, it's not a big task, but then again, you need to understand what you're doing, how you're going to do it. All right. Is that clear to everyone?
Do you need API knowledge as well?
API is generally not required here, right? But we'll try to fetch some data with using various APIs. All right. Within my
Okay.
pipelines, or we'll try to get data through API calls also. That is, but we're not, going to create an API or work with an API extensively. That is not going to happen. As I said, the topics are very clear. These are all the topics that you're going to cover. And once you're done with these topics, right, you'll have a good level of understanding when it comes to data engineering on Azure. All right. And again, as I said, um, people ask me, often as to after the course, what level will be I on, right? So what level can I expect myself to be on after the completion of this course? And my answer is always the same. It all depends on you. How much efforts you're putting after the class, how much efforts you're putting in the hands-on, right? That will define how good you become, right? Just by being in this class, you're not going to become good, right? So the effort has to come from each and every one of you. There has to be a lot of self-study here. There has to be a lot of practice here that you have to do. And I'll obviously be there to support you. If you need anything, just let me know. We can uh, discuss it out, whatever, wherever you are stuck, right? From my previous batches, right, students still contact me that, I was creating this pipeline and I'm stuck here. And then we do get along and we sort it out. We try to, fix the issue. So that is what I want everybody to do here. I want all of you to practice it, right? And to work with it, right? And the learning never stops, right? The learning actually never stops, and you have to be on top of your learning game if you want to excel, right, in today's world and today's market. Clear? So we'll just quickly touch upon a couple of topics, right? Demo topics only. Today we have to, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead. Obviously, tomorrow morning we'll have a 2.5 hour demonstration class. I think,
I have
uh,
questions about certifications. So
yeah.
if 203 is not available anymore, um,
Mhm.
I mean, having certification always speaks a lot than we speak. So looks like we have to give, you know, the next available certification course, which is Azure Bricks. Or sorry, what is that? Fabrics.
Fabrics, yes.
Yeah. So are we gonna cover something from fabrics as well?
We'll have understanding of fabric, obviously. We'll see, because see, in fabric also, most of the resources that you create here, the same resources you create within fabrics also. But as I
Yeah.
said, it's not widely adopted, right? Some of the services we can go to the Fabrics portal and we can see how you're going to create it. But the thing about Fabric is that on top of your Azure license, right? If you're working with Fabric, on top of your Azure license, it requires a Fabric license, which is a completely separate license altogether. All right.
Yeah. So this one, the topics here are actually from 203, and 203
Yes.
is not there anymore. And in fabrics, we have purview or
See,
purview.
yes, yes. Purview is also, see, as I said, these are all peripheral topics. Purview will also cover for data governance. Purview is there integrated into Synapse and Data Factory. All right.
Okay.
So we'll cover Purview as well. The thing that I'm trying to explain it to you is they have retired the certification. That is absolutely correct, right? But they've not retired the technology. These tools and these technologies will continue to work for many, many, many years. All right. They're not getting rid of the services. They've only gotten rid of the certification. And you search it anywhere. The reason, that everybody is talking about as to why did they retire the DP203 certification is very simple. Because clients are not using Fabric. All right. People are not using Fabric. People are using the traditional data engineering tools that you have. And since people were not using Fabric, they wanted to create a pool of resource, right, that can go to the
People
client
are
and
not
tell
using
them
fabric means like the same resources. It is
the
available under
adoption.
a different.
The adoption for Fabric is very less.
No,
All
no, no.
right.
I don't understand the difference between. So for like, let's say I create a data lake. I am working on Azure Data Factory. I'm working on Azure Databricks. So I go on onto that particular link and we create and then we start working and then we pay as we go. So for
Mm-hmm.
Fabric, is there like a separate link for Fabric, and under that are we creating all these resources like analytics, Data Factory,
Yes.
Databricks?
Yes. Yes, it's
Oh.
Fabric is a completely different SaaS platform.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's different. You need a separate license for it. And as I told you, right, the reason of retiring DP 203 was clearly that there was no adoption. There was very little adoption because Fabric has been there for a very long time now, right? But people are not
Yeah.
working with it. People are not working with it. So what Microsoft wanted as a marketing strategy was to create, a certification around it and then retire the existing certifications because eventually people are going to take certifications, right? And they are
Mm-hmm.
forcing people to learn Fabric because DP203 they already know. Now they want people to learn Fabric. Once they learn Fabric, there are chances that whichever project they start working on, they will introduce Fabric there, which will increase the adoption. Do you understand? It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a marketing strategy that they've done, right? More of a sales strategy. They're not going to get rid of these tools and services which are being used heavily in almost every organization.
In many organizations, what I have heard is they are not even opting for Azure Synapse Analytics because of the cost, and they are opting Snowflake.
See, that is there for each and every organization will have its own, you know, I would say policy or decisions as to what they have to go for. But Azure as a platform, as a service, everybody is using. You go to any place, any project, there will be something getting implemented on Azure, right? Obviously, cost considerations are there, but then the cost is not just for the same service. There are several sets of features that you get with Synapse. All right. Obviously, if the performance is better, the cost will be higher, right?
Okay.
But then, as a the term they use, the cloud economics, right? That is also something that you have to understand.
Okay. So will we be ready to give 700 in that case after?
Uh, See, after just this course, no. But after this course, with a considerable amount of self-learning, yes,
Okay.
because the topics itself are different, right? We're talking about DP 700, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So the topics itself are pretty different.
Okay.
DP 700 is more for data scientists. Um, One second, give me a second. Please have a glass of water. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. You're asking a question.
Um, Me, the same one,
Yeah,
700.
yeah. Yeah. So 700 we were discussing, right? So 700, see, the concepts are pretty similar. All right. You work with data ingestion here also, you work with data ingestion there also, right? Uh, there are several other terms which have been created, like the lake house, right? Which you will work with there. Data warehousing you'll do here also, data warehousing you'll do there also. So the concept of data warehousing remains the same, but then the tool that you're going to use to do that is different, right? And that is true for all cloud service providers, right? Um, Similarly, just how you have it in the AWS, in GCP or IBM cloud, right? Oracle cloud, they will offer their own way of working with the data. That is going to be there all the time. All right. But if you want, we can add a short introduction to Fabric and we can see, various some core important topics in Fabric as well over here, like creating the ADF pipelines within Fabric, creating the data warehouse, creating the lake house within Fabric itself. All those things you can see.
Yeah. Yeah, because I see like many of the companies started asking fabrics as well. They want us to know lake house architecture as well. They're asking for purview as well.
Purview will be there. Purview will cover. Purview will
Okay.
be here in this course itself.
Yeah, thank you. That's all from my end.
Yeah.
Are you going to cover Azure Purview as well in this course?
Yes, yes, yes. Purview is going to be there. The data governance tool. It is integrated within Synapse and Data Factory, as I said.
Okay. In the data
Is there
quality
any
also
chance
there, right?
for advanced
Yes, yes,
Including
yes. Yes, yes, yes.
in Purview itself, it is a combine of data quality and the data governance, right? As my
Yes, yes, absolutely.
okay.
Data compliance, data governance, everything. Access policies also to the. All right. So, as I said, tomorrow we are going to have a dedicated, you know, demo class where we'll see various topics. We'll cover fundamentals also, and we'll try to cover some advanced topic also. We'll try to make it easier for you so you have an understanding of how this course is going to be covered and how the training is going to happen, right? So I request everybody to please join tomorrow. Take one demo class and then decide for yourself whether you want to be a part of this training or not. All right. So can I expect everybody to be present tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
Please.
one thing I need to ask, is
Mhm.
there any chance to cover advanced SQL topics in that course?
Advanced SQL, see, not really, because SQL is a prerequisite for this course. All right.
Okay.
SQL you have to learn. The thing is, when you work with topics, right, and you understand a particular concept, at that point, I would be regularly giving you the data sets, different data sets to try it on, right? So you can use those data sets, you can work with it, you can write your own SQL queries. I can give you the problem statement, but then again, we are not going to cover SQL in the class. This is not a SQL course. All right. SQL will be
Okay.
a prerequisite. All right. So I think you'll have enough time because we are having weekend classes, right? And when we are doing the fundamentals of Azure itself, at that point, you will not require SQL. So you'll have around 2 weeks of time, right? 1 or 2 weeks to cover completely SQL. And I think that is more than sufficient as well.
Course is only for weekends or daily basis? How it is?
No, no, this class will happen only on weekends.
Only weekends.
So
Okay, okay. Not daily
yes,
basis, right?
no,
So 2.5 hour day,
yes, yes, yes. So
Saturday
instead
and
of
Sunday,
having,
right?
yes,
Okay, okay.
Saturday and Sunday,
Got it.
8 a.m. to 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. IST.
Okay, okay.
Are you going to cover automation and the deployment for this course?
Automation and deployment as in?
And Docker,
No,
yeah.
no, no. Docker and all we do not require here.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Others, do you have any questions? All right then, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah,
Please do join.
last,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
hello.
no,
One
go
question.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
As part of that Azure preview, right? So, how many hours you are going to cover? Means, in my company, I'm going to get the project on Azure preview actually. So, I don't have any
Azure Purview, right?
knowledge on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, we'll cover. I cannot dedicate a time for it, but we'll see why you're going to use Purview, right? Who basically uses what data governance teams use it, data engineers and analysts, how they're going to use it, the compliance officers, how they're going to use it, right? We'll cover topics like data mapping, right? We'll cover data cataloging. We'll talk about data classification, data lineage, right? Insights and reports from the data. All of that we'll cover within Purview.
So, how is in the market that preview itself?
Can you repeat?
How is the market for that Azure preview?
Purview
The
is
market
it's no no. See, Purview is
compared to other data governance tool, how is the market for Azure Purview governance tool?
see they will not dedicatedly see. I have not seen a lot of openings dedicated for a Purview itself, right? For the Purview rule. So it is
Right.
an add-on that you need to have in your skill set. All right. For data
Okay.
governance and compliance, right? Um, it's becoming more and more critical for the organization, right? So you'll not find many jobs titled as Microsoft Purview engineer, all right? But you will see Purview mentioned as a required or preferred skill in many roles, as a data governance specialist role, as a data architect role, data engineering role, cloud compliance roles, right? Analytics professionals role. So that is where it will be added as a prerequisite or a preferred, let's say, technology that you should know. But as I said, you will not find Purview engineer written anywhere where Purview engineer is required. That is very less. But it's a really, really important skill to have today, right? Because in the organizational settings, Microsoft has, implemented Purview for everybody. All right. So there's an announcement also that I want to make. So anybody who registers today for the course, they're going to get some special discount. And obviously, uh, tomorrow we'll have the demo class. All right. So the backend team will get in touch with you. They'll explain it to you everything. If you have any more questions, please do ask, or else tomorrow also after the demonstration, you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Shreyas,
I have a quick
Yeah,
question,
hi.
Shreyas. How long
So
the course duration would be?
The course duration ideally is more than around 40 hours, right? We try to cover almost 40 hours plus.
So, Shreyas, one question, quick question. So, are you going to provide the recording sessions for these 40?
Yes, absolutely. Day-wise recording will be shared with you on the LMS portal. So we have our own learning management system where you can find day by day recording.
Okay,
All
so
right.
how many months we can view that one if I miss some weekend, right? If I want to watch after a couple of weeks, how
So
many
recordings are,
months?
yeah, recordings are lifetime access. So you will have the recordings with you.
Oh, then we are good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
No problem.
Shreyas, I come from Informatica background, the ETL. So here we have the ETL comes under ATF topics, right? I mean ETL
Mm,
transformation and pipelines.
mhm. Within Azure, you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, ETL comes under various topics. See, ETL is a part of ADF also. ETL you'll see within Synapse also. ETL you'll see within Stream Analytics also. So it's all about ETL. Data engineering is all about ETL, right? So all of
So
these services
creating the
they support.
transformation and pipeline, it comes under various topics that have
Yes,
shown
because
here 8
no,
topics, right?
see, just ETL is not just pipelines, right? Um,
No, I'm
e-
particularly
hmm,
asking about the creating the
Pipelines, right?
pipelines.
Yes, so pipelines we'll see in three topics here that you see on your screen. One is Synapse. Synapse will have its own pipelines. Data Factory will have its own pipelines. Synapse and Data Factory pipelines, they would look almost similar to you, but they have a lot of differences. And then we have the Delta Live tables here, the pipelines within Databricks. All
Oh,
right. So these three pipelines we'll see in the course.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And Shreyas, I have one more question. I joined little late. I joined at 8:45. Okay, actually, I'm from L1 of database, Oracle DBA. So,
Mm-hmm.
can I join this course, or do I need any prerequisites, or could you please guide
No, no,
me?
yeah. So as I said, uh, your current role does not matter in this particular course because we are going to start from scratch. As I said, we'll start from asking questions about what is cloud computing. All right. So you do not need to have any prerequisite or experience with, let's say, Azure or working with data engineering tools with Azure. The only thing is, one second. Yeah, sorry. So I was saying you do not need to have an experience with Azure. The only prerequisite that I am asking for is SQL. That is all. If you know SQL, you're good to sit in this class and you'll understand each and every topic. Do not worry.
Thank you, Shreyas.
So tomorrow also the same meeting link. you can use the same link.
Are we going to have any kind of mock interview? Yes, yes, we do have interview preparation as well. So please, guys, please
How
join
much
the
is the
demo
course
session
fee?
tomorrow. Uh,
So the course fee
Nitil,
is 22,000. So those who are registering today really want to have the course. So you can reach us today. We will have better discount for today registration.
How to reach the number which is
You
in the
can,
group which I have
yes,
posted?
yes, the same number. You can reach us. Whatever we have provided now through WhatsApp, please reach us. So we will guide you how to proceed.
Okay.
and also, if you
Uh,
do not know Python, it is absolutely fine, right? As I said, Python is not a prerequisite. SQL is. Python, maybe, you can spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes every day on Python, right? I can share the resources with you and you can come up to the pace with Python, right? By the time we reach the Spark tool and all, you'll have a good understanding of Python platform itself, right? Or Python coding itself.
do you have a
This is Aravind
weekend
from
class on
Chennai.
evening time?
We do not have weekend classes in the evening time as of now, but we'll be soon launching an evening session in the weekdays,
Okay.
maybe by next month.
So weekend
Shreyas,
Could you
evening
this
please
is
share
batch.
the number?
Sorry. Yeah, I can share the number.
Thank you.
hello. Shreyas, this is Aravind from Chennai.
Hi,
Actually,
Arvind.
my background is I switched from testing to Informatica via the Chandra classes. I have already attended Chandra classes.
Yeah.
So now I want to be this in the Azure, right? So if I, as you said, if I have this course and enough amount of practice session from my end, so I can switch to Azure data engineering post
Easily. Yes,
role, right? Like
absolutely.
by following your all this lab exercise, everything. If I do
Lab
correctly,
exercises, classes, hands-on, your own learning, absolutely you can move.
okay. Any mock interviews, interview questions will be shared
Yes, yes,
at
we'll
the end
we'll
of
be sharing
year.
the mock interview questions with all of you. Topic-wise mock interview questions we'll share.
Okay, because for Informatica, I got that one and I cleared through that questions and all. So just I want to ask. Okay,
No, no,
if
we'll
the
share.
classes will be joined means from which weekend it will be?
Tomorrow we have a demo class, right?
Yeah,
And
actual classes.
actual classes only. See, demo classes,
No.
we'll start with the introduction. So it's free for all,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So yeah, more of a free for all class.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, Shesh. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
That is why
also
I'm saying,
taking the Chandra IACS classes, Sahil. Yeah.
yeah.
If it is weekend, right? So, as for my company requirement, so I need to work as I mentioned, right? So Azure, that is the reason. Yeah.
No, no, after this course, you'll be I can guarantee that you'll be you'll have a very good understanding of the Azure platform after this course,
Okay.
especially related to the data related tools.
Okay. So if you know one cloud environment, the same for AWS and GCP as well, right?
See, the
One.
the technology is the same. The concepts are also somewhat same. You will find, let's say, a virtual machine in Azure also, and you'll find a virtual machine in AWS also. You'll find a storage service in Azure also. You'll find a storage service in AWS also. So the tools are the same, but then the nomenclature is different. Sometimes the how you are going to configure them is a bit different. But then the actual architecture, right? It is there and it is going to be common across all cloud platforms. So if you understand Azure in depth, you will not find it hard to understand AWS or GCP because you understand the concept, you understand the uh, you know uh, background of it.
As you mentioned, right, Databricks, is there any prerequisites to know this Databricks, understand better?
No, 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 no. We'll start it from
Not.
scratch itself. As I said, you just need to practice Python, every day for around 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Just make sure, because see, if you want to work on data, Python has to be there, right?
Okay, okay,
If
got it.
if you learn it today or if you learn it tomorrow, it does not matter when you are learning it. Python is essential when you're working with data, right? I would
Yeah,
recommend everybody.
what level we know Python, like scripting level or object
Yes, basic
programming
scripting
level?
level as of now. Basic scripting level as of now. And when you
Okay.
start working with it, right, eventually you'll learn
Hmm.
and grow.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay.
So guys, please join
And
the demo session tomorrow. Everybody, be a part of it. You see for yourself as to what you're getting into, and then maybe you can also be a part of regular session as well.
Shreya, in the beginning, as you mentioned, you will be providing 2 months Azure access, right? So
Yes,
for that,
not Azure
we do
Access,
we need
Azure Lab
Mhm.
Access. Yes.
lab access? Yeah. So for that,
Yeah.
do we need to give any credit card details, or you will be
No, 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 no,
creating
no.
for?
For the labs that I'll be sharing, there is no cost associated with it, right? It's included in the uh, your subscription itself.
Okay. So further, if we want to extend that, then we can use our card and we can extend.
Uh, See, if you're creating a free account, it is valid. It is going to be free for 1 month, right? If you
Mhm.
want the lab environments again, then we can discuss. Yeah, there will be some cost associated with it if you want another instance of the lab environment itself.
Okay.
All right. So can I expect everybody to be present tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Shreyas.
Yeah,
All
tomorrow
right.
will be around a 2.5 hour session. Yes, Shreyas?
Yeah. Tomorrow we'll
Okay.
have a full dedicated session,
Yeah.
and we'll see some fundamentals of cloud also, and we'll see some advanced topics on the cloud as well. So please do join.
Hi, Shreyas. For
Yeah.
Azure Databricks, dedicated courses will be also handled after this course, or with
Yes,
this
we'll
itself
have.
will be
Yes.
with Databricks or us.
Yeah. Yeah. So see, for any topic, uh, right, we can go into depths of it, and for Databricks also, right, there are a lot of topics, and we do have a dedicated course for Databricks as well, right? That is, around 25, 30 hours long course on Databricks itself.
Uh, when can we expect the Azure Databricks course, the dedicated course to be started?
Uh, Soon. I don't think we have a date decided yet, but soon.
Okay.
Databricks course, it is in weekends or weekdays?
No, that will be a weekday course.
Yeah, weekdays course, it will be around 9:30 p.m. So,
Okay, okay, fine.
yeah.
It will be 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Indian
Yes.
Standard Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there is a course being designed for Azure Fabrics for the certification, it would be
Uh,
better.
yeah, I get your point, but actually the demand is all around the topics that you see on your screen. It's not Fabric. See, if you just take a look at it through the certification point of view, it's fine. It is important, right? But then there has to be a demand also in the market for it. The core demand, if you see any job opening, right, they'll say Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, Azure, let's say Spark, right? Data Factory. So these are the terms that they're using as of now.
If we foresee it might turn around towards Azure Fabrics.
I have a strong feeling that it will not.
Oh,
Personally, I've
okay.
worked with fabrics, so I get it. Even in the community, the MCT community that we have, um, the only reason that everybody thinks that why this course was retired is same, to
Mm-hmm.
do some marketing for the data for the fabrics platform, because generally clients are not using it, so they want to create a
Mm-hmm.
pool of certified, trained resources who can work on it and then, basically switch onto that platform.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon. You can mark my words on that.
Okay. If it doesn't happen, it is good. I feel like I'm like really late for Azure. Many years back, or at least 4 to 5 years back, I should have done this Azure courses. That's how I feel. So I
No,
was
no, you
thinking
start
I
with
shouldn't be
AZ900.
making the same
See,
mistake.
see, it depends on what actually you want to achieve on Azure. Do you want to, stay confined to data and data engineering and data analysis itself? Or do you want to go to the administration part, the solutions architect part, right? So I can guide you with that once you're done with the AZ900 and DP900, right? You can reach out to me, irrespective of whether you are a part of the course or the training or not. And then I can, let you know what steps you need to take next, right? What resources you can refer to, the Microsoft Learn collection that you can go through in order to increase your Azure skills. All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And one more help, like currently I'm like getting information, some of the informations from LinkedIn, but years back, let's say around before pandemic, I had a
Mm-hmm.
different circle where I was exposed to, new technologies, new terminologies that is coming up. But in Canada, I'm not sure about you guys. In Canada, and I recently relocated to India. Here, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what, where, like, what sort of community I can join to be on top, to come to know the terminologies, new terminologies we are coming up, new technologies we are coming up.
Right. So the best would be your colleagues who are working on Azure with you, right? It's always good to discuss with them. But apart from that, I think LinkedIn is a good place where you can find all of this, right? Stay up to date with, various new releases, new functionalities, all of those things.
Okay, there is no specific community.
From Microsoft, there is Microsoft Tech community is there around Azure. Maybe you can join it,
Okay.
right? So it's a official Microsoft run forum and a blog hub, right? So you'll get all the product updates there. You'll get people discussing about the best practices, any upcoming seminar or an event around Azure. People discuss it there in the Microsoft Tech
Mhm.
community, Azure space. They call it Azure space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, then. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please do join the demo session tomorrow, everybody. Yes. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Suresh.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Shay.